What's this? July 19th Community Outreach Committee meeting. Um, I'll just run through the names just for the necessity of roll call. So myself, Ashia Parker, co-chair, Mark Washington, community member. You all can do your own. Natasha, you can go.
Natasha Mayo, Director of the Mayor's Office of Government Relations.
Thank you, Ray.
Good afternoon, everyone. Ray Kelly, community member.
Thank you, Lauren.
Good afternoon, Lauren Perez, liaison in the Mayor's Office of Government Relations.
Thank you, Director Shante.
Director Shantae Jackson, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement.
All right, Miss Lewis.
Afternoon, Monica Lewis, Senior Director of Communications in the Mayor's Office.
Thank you for joining us. And Adam.
Adam Abadir, Mayor's Office of Government Relations.
All right, so thank you all. Today I wanted to open up our calendars and start putting dates out there. So if you have not looked through our recent memos, our bill is waiting for signature from the mayor. So we've moved along a little before our timeline, which is great. And there is a bill signing event next Thursday. Is that 2:00? What time is it, Natasha? Did we get a time? I don't know why 2:30 was in my mind, but I know it's going to be a bill signing next Thursday. And there will be an invitation for us to appear if we are available. So now we're up. It's time for us to get our dates and locations mapped out so we can do our community outreach piece, which I'm excited about. So if we look at August, Thursday evenings seem to be the best for me. But are there any days that are better or worse that we can kind of come to a consensus on?
I think I'm pretty flexible with that. Whatever day, when we get to the point of actually securing venues, I'm pretty good on Thursday evenings.
Okay. Were you gonna say something, Ms. Lewis?
This is my first time on this call, and I'm actually new to the office, so forgive me for not knowing, but I guess what the purpose or the objective of the meeting is, and what
Yes.
you need from us there.
So the purpose and the objective of the meetings is to start an education program, project or program, or however we want to describe it, around what our board is doing and what the charter amendment will be. And just to get the awareness that it's going to be on the ballot in November and that citizens should know about how it will affect the city and the Baltimore Police Department. It's an engagement for the better, the most part, to make sure that the community knows the work that we've done and why it's important. Yeah. Good afternoon, Lydia. So we're just talking about starting to put some dates on the calendar since we're moving forward with the signing of the bill to get the charter amendment on the ballot for November. So we kind of put out there that Thursday evenings are pretty good. Do you have any objections to Thursdays? Are there any other days that work better or worse for you?
So I don't know if this is a venue, but I do have the hall on the last Wednesday of every month
Okay.
in the evening.
Okay. Lydia, were you going to say something?
Oh no, I was actually just gonna ask if it was gonna be like an every Thursday, like a space that we hold that anybody could pop into, or if we can just talk a little bit more along those logistics.
Okay, so the dates would kind of be what's comfortable for us and what's available for the venues. So it may not be every Thursday. And like Ray said, if we decide to use St. Peter Claver as a West Baltimore venue, then that would actually be a Wednesday. As far as August, I'm good except for the week of the 14th. I'm out of town.
Hey, Ashia,
Mhm.
Director Jackson here. So as we're thinking about times, are we thinking about start times at 6 p.m.? I'm trying to make sure I can get the holds put on my calendar
Yes.
now. Okay,
Yes,
so
I want
6
to make
to
sure that
9?
people who are getting off from work have
Okay.
the availability to make it.
Are we
Um,
thinking 6 to 8, 6 to 9?
You
Because
think
we're
we need
talking about food too, right? And so giving people the
Yeah.
opportunity to break bread. Like,
Do you
what?
think we'll need 3 hours? I think 2 would maybe be good, but you think 3?
No, I'm good with 2 hours. I
Yeah.
wanted, I wanted to make sure I was demonstrating flexibility.
No, 6 to 8, and I think that if we kind of articulate that we'll be there like 5:30, where people can come and eat and get to meet us or whatever before the formal program starts, I think that'll be fine.
And I think we mentioned anywhere between 6 and 9 sessions. So are we putting these holds from August through October, given that it would be on the ballot in November as we try to figure out dates? I don't
Yeah.
want to commit my time anywhere else. I'd rather just put all the holds in place now and then free them up as we get closer to deciding.
Yes, I would say yes.
Okay, thank you.
And so we're definitely looking at Thursdays. Maybe that's every other Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, I would note that in the event, I know we'd be going around to different districts, but as Ray noted that, having one Wednesday, making it so that not every single thing is on a Thursday might be a consideration in the event that someone can't attend on Thursdays for whatever reason. Not so much us, but members of the public, just giving a little bit of a alternative date. If
Yes, so we
Thursdays
could
stand
maybe
or
do. So Ray, you only have it we will only do West Baltimore once anyway. So we could definitely set up for August 31st to be at St. Peter Claver.
We can't do August. We got the DOJ in August, but after August.
Oh,
any of
after
those
August.
months- Any of those months are good. We can't do July because of the camp. In August, we got the DOJ.
Okay.
I can't do August 31st either. We're with the police commissioner and the mayor down in Morrill Park.
Okay, yeah, that could be fine. I was just trying to find something for that last week since Ray said he had the availability on the last Wednesday. Let's start with what the first one look like. Can the first one be August the 11th, which would give us time for planning and outreach? Are we comfortable with that? Okay, so that's good. We can put that on the calendar for the first one. So let's talk about locations. So we have a possible location for the Western District. Lauren gave some suggestions about locations in other districts. Anybody have a preference about where the first one should be?
I always feel like Central should be first.
Central?
Yeah.
What is that what you were gonna say, Lydia?
Yeah, definitely was going to agree with Ray. I know that when you mentioned the August 11th as being the kickoff of the workshops, town halls, if you will. I guess my question is, will we be ready as a full advisory board by the 11th with the types of local control? Or if you can just talk about a general synopsis of our hopes of these workshops. Is it just going to be general information about it being on referendum? Or is it going to actually, give updates as it relates to the different types of local controls that we have come to consensus with? Like, will we have come to consensus by the 11th of August? Or will we be just discussing, the fact that it's going into the ballot? So I presume that that's going to be a lot of the inquiry from community. So, I say that prior to
Yeah,
kicking
I
off
don't think that
workshops
we
for us to
will
think about,
have come to a
what we want to
conclusion, a
accomplish in the
consensus
actual
by the,
workshop.
yeah, by the 11th. Because I know we're just kind of getting some of those conversations on the schedule now. So how do we feel about that? Do we feel like we should maybe push back a little so we can have a full package? Or do we think we should hit the ground with the general information, the whys, and how they should participate? Because I think the ballot question is going to be plain.
No, I definitely don't think we should start having education and info sessions without current information. I mean, it'll be great to start a meeting off with who we are and what we're trying to do, but we got to present something to people. They want to know what it's going to look like, bottom line. So I think we got to at least have a couple of proposals on paper that we
Okay.
can share with people that like it could look like this or it could look like that, and we can use that input to kind of finalize, but we need something.
Okay, so as a committee, can we agree on having the 25th be our kickoff and then presenting that to co-chair Moore, that we want to at least have some type of a consensus around what we may look like, what we may choose for a type of local control?
I would say one suggestion as we're talking through this is not so much because the board will continue to work and eventually make recommendations on a specific type for Baltimore, is that we should think of this more as explaining, like, I guess less that it's going to be one of three options and more educating on this is what local control could look like in general. And as Ray noted, kind of get more feedback from people on that. I know it might be like splitting hairs, but it's, I don't think between now and August, given that we might have at the end of the month, we're hearing from St. Louis and we have some other people coming up, that we'd have sufficient information from the board to say, here are the three options that the board is considering, but we surely have enough information, and similar to the document I sent out with the reminder email today, we have our intern and staff working on kind of like one pagers for each of the cities that we're hoping to hear from and exploring, where we could talk about the various ways local control looks and again solicit some public input that way. So that's just one way to continue to engage and educate the public, even though we won't have necessarily explicit, here are the specific options for Baltimore.
I
But
I
I put that on
agree.
the table.
Yeah, I agree with what I think is a hybridized approach. Given what I'm hearing Ray and Natasha talk about, because I'm thinking about outreach and who owns the outreach. I'm thinking about whether or not we're doing press with the mayor or some sort of presser. Are we doing social to invite folks out? Are we doing radio spots? And as we get folks there, being mindful of the fact that, number one, a lot of folks might not even know that local control, what local control is, that we're even having conversations about it, that there's going to be a charter amendment on the ballot, but this is just the beginning, right? And just making sure that we're grounding folks with regard to where we are and what it means through November, with further conversation around, and here's some options for you to take a look at. The reason why I brought up outreach proactively, because then reactive outreach could be for those of you that weren't able to participate, or those of you that were, here are a couple of snapshots via social, via whatever, around what potential options exist, so that we can continue to get community feedback even after we have the sessions to inform our decision making. And just, want to understand how we integrate what the proactive and reactive outreach and in-reach looks like with the actual engagement sessions that we're having.
And just hearing Shantae list all that, that kind of makes me step back and inquire about the budget. And do we have secure, because she just described the same thing me and Ashia talked about offline. This is a campaign. We gotta actually educate the community. So once again, I gotta go back to, are we good with funding this type of campaign, the campaign that we know is needed?
So we know that the social media, the print, and that kind of stuff can be done through resources through the city. That's why we have Miss Lewis on today. Now we had some other questions around, like, could we do mail or could we do those kind of touches? We have not had those discussions, but we do know that some of the communication pieces as far as like the one pagers, the website, the social media can be done with city resources.
As well as some of the locations and then refreshments. So we're willing to help put everything together as much as we can through in-house work. And as you noted, Director Lewis is here. And so this is her first meeting. So she's also new to the team. So she's quickly trying to get up to speed on everything we have been doing. But that's exactly why we're looping in the communications team, so that they could now be more aware of what's happening and provide some of that guidance and advice and support along the way as we enter into doing this engagement and education with the public.
I think
I
I've heard a
have to
couple-
say that I'm a terrible guest because I do have a 2:30 meeting that I have to step out to walk down the hall for. But if it's possible, I'll touch base with Natasha and Lauren to get a recap of what happened, the remainder of this call, and then see how we can best support this effort.
Right. Natasha, is there a space where Director Lewis can come on Friday?
Yeah, I'm happy to, I believe I included her, but if not, I'll also include you in those meetings on Friday with the full board. And that would help, especially hearing from one of our guest speakers, kind of get up to speed on what we're talking about looks like. Because as Director Jackson said, most people, this is just like a topic that's not natural to everyone understanding off the bat.
Yeah, I don't see it on my calendar now, but just send it
I'll
to me.
send it over.
All right, thank
Calendar
you all.
invites is a little hard, but thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
We'll make sure
All
that
right.
you know about it. Thank you so much.
All right, y'all have a good day.
You as well. Lydia, I think you were gonna say something.
Yeah, no, I think that this is really great dialogue for us to think through. And what I'm hearing is a lot of the hybrid, being able to talk about the history, the why and how they can participate, obviously, during the ballot, present the ballot question, because the ballot question should be finalized by August 5th. I think that this is also a great opportunity for us to collect some data beyond the election. So in a scenario where, voters, we win the referendum, we can already have taken advantage of the town halls with folks giving their input on the different types of local control, even if it's just giving input on the one pagers, right? So even us as a committee developing some kind of community questionnaire that allows community members to give input beyond a yes or no in the ballot box, but for folks who do participate in our orientations to already give input, after seeing the one pagers, after hearing the background, after et cetera. Being able to engage in that manner for us as a advisory board to have that information coming out of the elections as well.
Sounds good.
Yeah, Lydia, I like that a lot. That was the point that I was making about the outreach after the fact, the reactive outreach coming out of this. We would obviously need to make sure that we've got paper as collateral, to Ashia's point around, like, we've got to figure out what mailers look like, but we can absolutely use the mayor's comms team to post social surveys and surveys on the city's website to get information to inform our decision making.
Yep, and do the QR code, so when we're out, they can scan it and, take any surveys or whatever we have for ease. So Lauren, can you tell us the location that you had in mind for Central District?
Sure, let me pull it up now. I do want to say in the conversation about when we want to start these meetings, if we started on August 25th, that would
Uh-huh.
give us 10 weeks. And so if like something needed to be rescheduled or if something just didn't work, that just wanted to put that out there that may be an issue moving forward. So, but for Central was easy. War Memorial Building, and they're always happy to work with us. There's we could possibly, well, we could talk with the administration about opening the garage for free parking. But even if not, that's still a very good location for everybody. There's plenty of seating up on the, I think the second floor. So that was the idea for that location.
Lauren, question for you, because I've never been on the second floor of the War Memorial. Are the acoustics better up there than on the first floor?
Or maybe I mean first floor. Are you speaking about where the mayors get or they have their inaugurations? That's what I'm thinking of.
I've never been to a mayoral inauguration, so
okay.
I can't answer that.
Acoustics are okay. However, if we expect less than 100 people, we could have it on the bottom floor, and the acoustics are fine there.
I'd
Enough.
recommend the bottom floor.
I'm sorry.
I'd recommend the bottom floor.
And that would probably be best. Yeah.
Okay. There was a question. Lydia had a question about a bilingual session. Do you have any
We
feedback
can
on that?
either do one bilingual session so I'm taking off my experience of when we brought Commissioner Harrison on and we did listening sessions in each district. We also had a ASL interpreter and a Spanish language interpreter at each location, and they were able to do it in real time with headphones. Everybody needed an interpreter at that time. Was able to check in and get a pair of headphones. So I guess it would be up to the committee. And Lydia, that maybe your expertise about whether we should do it for every meeting or just meetings in certain districts.
And then Lydia, is that okay that it could be the same session with headphones, or is it a preference to be a separate section?
Yeah, I would actually, I think that it would be great to have, definitely we need to have language accessibility in each one of the sessions so that anybody could come in. And, the meetings with Commissioner Harris nomination process, I think that was a ideal situation where folks knew that regardless of the district, they can come and get a headset and be able to ask questions and or listen to the entire presentation. I would additionally say that it would be great to do that. And in addition to that, have a bilingual session for the sake of some folks wanting to be in a safe space where they're not just listening to an earpiece, but the session is actually fully bilingual as well. And we would be happy to support with that, both with our space at CASA and putting together a bilingual session.
Okay, thank you. And then Natasha, that's something we can get through the resources, just making sure that we have an ASL and bilingual interpreters that travel with us.
Yeah, we will talk with our MEMA team on that. And I do think, to Lydia's point, it might be really good to also have the CASA session, not just as the safe space, but also to ensure that there's the greatest ability for people to participate in those cases. I don't know how many headsets we have, but depending on how big a certain turnout is, we also want to make sure that there is, as she noted, this as much accessibility for our bilingual and ASL folks.
Okay. So it looks like we have a pending schedule. Of course, we'll bring it before the entire board, but we have a pending schedule as our start date, August 25th at the War Memorial Building, where we'll have refreshments. We'll also have interpreters, and we will have our full one pagers and stuff ready to go. So I guess, starting Friday and then your off the record conversations with Director Lewis, if we could talk about like how soon we can get like stuff posted, for instance. If that can be done by the first week in August or something like that, that would be ideal so we can kind of know. And then Lauren, was it you that said you would help with one pagers and memes? Okay.
Yep, happy to help. So
All
as
right.
that language, I'm happy to help.
Natasha, do we have a full committee meeting scheduled for the 5th?
Not yet, but I believe we will be having them. I do know the 1 week in August we won't be having meetings is the 19th, the 15th through 19th. Yeah, we're
Out of town
yeah, I
that
guess
week, so that's perfect. Okay, good. So if we could like kind of talk about it on Friday and see if everyone on the team can, if we can get like the first drafts at least by the 5th, that would be great. So we can look over them, and have any edits, and then we can start getting it advertised so we can have a good turnout on the 25th.
Yeah, and I think that is also a deal since we do have a speaker this Friday that likely will take the most of the time. So ensuring we could have all of these pieces in place for a thorough discussion on the 5th, where currently we don't have a guest speaker that could use the best use of the entire board to bring them up to speed on everything and then prepare for the 25th.
Okay. And then Director Jackson, did you have, and at this point, I'm amenable to who you suggest. Do you have the person that's already in the city buy system that we can engage?
I actually emailed you all as the meeting began, the city's
Okay.
list of preferred food vendors. There are tons of them.
Okay.
Because I thought that we might want to make sure that we were using folks who were in the respective districts
Okay.
to, drive local business. So all of those folks in that file, it's a multi-page document, are all in city buy and considered city preferred.
Okay. So I'll look over it and anybody else can look over it. If you have any suggestions, just let me know. And then Friday, I'll make a recommendation so we can start getting that in the pipeline as well.
Sounds good.
All righty. Anything else? All right, great. Y'all know I love an efficient meeting. So you all have a great afternoon and we will see you on Friday.
Great, thank you
Get
all.
the vote.
Have a good afternoon.
Oh yeah,
everybody.
don't forget to vote, everyone.
Oh yeah, I went this
Already
morning. I gotta
did.
put my sticker
Already
on.
did.
Yes, do not forget to vote. Thank you all. Have a good afternoon.
You
Thank
too.
you.